The Cowboys coaching search is intensifying, and we know about Kellen Moore, Robert Saleh, Leslie Frazier, all being lined up for interviews. But there's one more name that is likely going to gain some interest. And if he ends up being the Cowboys head coach, he would be the oldest ever in NFL history. What is up, everyone? Welcome into ATOZ Sports Dallas. It's Mauricio Rodriguez. We are talking Cowboys coaching search. And we are doing so because we know about some candidates, but I still think we will learn about more in the future. Now, one of the names that I keep thinking about is Pete Carroll. Now, the former Seahawks head coach will be 74 years old in September of 2025. At that age, there's no head coach in NFL history that will have a coach day game older than Pete Carroll is going to be in 2025. Naturally, that begs a lot of questions, but one of them is about the interest of the Cowboys. Will Dallas really be interested in a coach like Pete Carroll? And I think the answer to that is yes. The reason why is we've talked about two types of coaches that the Cowboys are interested in. If you don't meet one of these two requirements, then you're likely out of the picture for them. You've got to either, one, be a familiar face to the Cowboys, or two, you've got to have a resume. You've got to have a proven record at the head coaching position. And the more that I think about it, the less that I think that are candidates of that second archetype. Because if you think about it, there was Mike Vrabel, who is now a Patriot. There was Bill Belichick, who is now with the North Carolina Tar Heels. You had maybe John Gruden, but I don't know that the Cowboys are going to be in love with the option of targeting John Gruden. There's a 2021 email scandal. I don't know if the risk really makes up for the potential reward that you might get out of him, although he has that Super Bowl ring and he has that experience. Ron Rivera, I know it's a name that we've thrown out, but I still feel like he would be a little bit of a long shot after how things ended in Washington. So the more that I think about it, if we're talking about that experienced head coach, Pete Carroll might be one of the few options out there that really make sense. Now, one of the main reasons why it makes sense, shout out to David Howman, who shared this with me the other day on his podcast, The Writer's Block. There are three guys that have won both the Super Bowl and the national championship. And those three guys are Barry Switzer, Jimmy Johnson, both former Cowboys head coaches, and Pete Carroll. So if Jerry Jones is collecting infinity stones around here, then he would have the third one if he ends up with Pete Carroll. The problem, though, with him is that, listen, about the age. When I say that Pete Carroll is old, I don't mean it in general. I just mean, okay, football-wise, he is old because no one has coached at the NFL at that age from a head coaching position. And what I cannot keep thinking about is, okay, the energy is there right now. Hell, I think Pete Carroll at 73 years old is more energetic than I am at 25 years old. So for 2025, I don't doubt that the energy is going to be there in the sidelines. But when you look at this thing from a 5-year perspective, right? What do things look like in 4 years with Pete Carroll on the sidelines? Is he as motivated as he was? Is there that hunger to go out there on the field and be a head coach of the NFL, which is so incredibly demanding? Or maybe does that go away at some point during his contract if you do hire him? That's what worries me for the most part. But then there's the whole Jason Witten conversation that we've been having over the last few days, where insiders are like, don't dismiss the possibility of Jason Witten joining the staff and learning the ropes before being promoted eventually to a head coaching job. We can talk about how dysfunctional that is in itself another day. But if there is one guy that would make that make sense, it would be Pete Carroll, right? Who has that out date, has that exit date after a single contract. I don't think that Pete Carroll is someone that you're going to hire on a 4-year deal and then you're going to extend him for 4 more years just because he would be over 80 by then. So it's a difficult situation to get Pete Carroll as your head coach at the NFL level right now. But that's how I could see it make sense for the Cowboys. And if I'm being honest with you, I think he's among the most likely candidates to end up as Cowboys head coach. My personal favorite as far as predictions go, I think it's going to be Kellen Moore. But Pete Carroll also makes sense in a different way. Pete Carroll is the experienced head coach that they like Kellen Moore is the familiar face that they like. We'll see how it goes, but Kellen Moore first has to worry about the playoffs because it is the divisional round of the NFL playoffs coming up this weekend. And I wanted to celebrate that because that's my favorite weekend of the year, if I'm being honest with you. And I wanted to ask for your predictions. I'm going to give you mine. I think Xavier Worthy goes for over 4.5 catches. And I think Justice Hill also ends up with more than 2.5 catches on game day. Now, the thing here is that your predictions and my predictions, we can use them to win real cash. How? By using Underdog Fantasy. That is right. It is time for our fantasy football pick'em entry. You've got mine. I'm going with Xavier Worthy, Justice Hill, getting those catches. And remember, use promo code ATOZDALLAS at the #1 fantasy sports platform at Underdog Fantasy. They will match your deposit if you use ATOZDALLAS when signing up, and use a link in our description, in the comments, in our social media. And let's go. Let's get that money with Underdog Fantasy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you tomorrow for the hot take of the week. Bye-bye.